We have an Ebola response team that has arrived in Ghana, and the UN team, were told, it's just parts of the initial members of 150 that will be deployed, not only in Ghana but the rest of West Africa. And Ghana is the epicenter, so to speak, for collating the treatment or coordinating the treatment in West Africa. That's a good thing. And following also all the things that the president has said.
Yes,
in the UN.
Yes, I think for me that's a very good sign. It gives some level of credibility to us as a country that people actually have trust in us. That a lot of good things that is happening in this country. There's confidence in Ghanaian that yes, we are people, we are good people, and that's how come I said that the speech that was delivered by the president at the UN. Clearly signal to the whole world that we are serious people, and we are not only in for our own good, but we are in for the whole of the sub-region. Because you see, the way they blanket all of us as West Africa. When you are going to have a visitor, I have a lot of friends who wanted to visit me during our research. They will tell you that because of the Ebola in West Africa, they won't come. They won't say that there's no Ebola in Ghana. They combine all of us as a country and as a sub-region and say West Africa. They will not even differentiate between Ghana and maybe Liberia or anything. They say West Africa. It's West Africa. So it is a global issue, and I'm very happy the way the international community is responding to the issue, because whatever it is, today is Africa, but tomorrow you never know. Your citizens are traveling, people are moving across the length and breadth of the world, and since it is a disease, it can affect anybody at any particular point in time. So I'm happy that we have made ourselves available and we are ready to help the sub-region. And we are fortunate to have our president, who is also the president of ECOWAS. And for me, I think that it's a good sign. There are a lot of people who are raising issues this morning about wind being used as a center, and definitely because of the traveling and all that, there will be some implications. But the bottom line is that it is better for us to have the centers here and have the equipment and all that, the logistics here, than to have it elsewhere, so that when we have problem, we have to go somewhere. So now that we have the thing here, it means that even if tomorrow there's any problem at all, we know that we have the solution is here.
Okay, I hope what Bright is saying is not to cover the speculated inefficiencies that is being discussed in the public domain about the inability of the health facilities, especially around the border areas, to access, let's say, for example, PPEs as the protective gears, etc.
Well, Roland, you know Mr. Kofi Potofi, he is the head of NADMO and vying for NDC national chairmanship. He has come out clearly to say that the government doesn't seem prepared. Okay? And it was published by the Daily Graphic last week. I don't know from the time he made a statement to date whether there's been any changes. I don't know. Two, I have a concern. A gentleman, we're told, was traveling to the Brown Harbour and vomited blood and eventually died. He was buried in an undisclosed location. The family members were not allowed to see him. We saw on TV, health officials wearing PPEs, doing it, burying the guy the way we see people being buried in Liberia and Sierra Leone, people who die of Ebola. Now, a question I want to ask. How many days does it take to get
a samples tested?
The
blood sample?
Yes. How many days does it take? And what was the cause of the guy's death? Why was he buried so quickly in an undisclosed location when the result of his test had not come from Noguchi?
But is it not to be on the safer side to always be preventive than seeking curative measures?
If you are investigating cause of death, you don't hurriedly bury the person.
Well, we do understand, but you've taken a blood sample
and the results are not out.
But isn't it foremost important
Roland,
that once you get the blood sample and you test and it's negative or positive, then you're either rest assured or
Roland, somebody is dead. You don't know the cause of death. You've taken a blood sample. You want it tested. The results of your tests are not out. Okay? Why do you bury the person in an undisclosed location? Why do you deny family members access? You see, we shouldn't pretend as a nation on certain things. We should be clear. When you create a certain impression, people would not trust any information that you put out in the public domain.
Will not trust who and who?
Of course, the government. I am asking. And I think that it's a matter for you as a media person to also find out why is it that the blood sample that was taken to Noguchi, the result of that test had not come out. But the guy was buried in a manner that Ebola patients are buried when they die. Why? We need to know. To date.
To you, it's mind-boggling.
Of course, we should know. To date, how many? That's why I asked the first question. How many days does it take? You know, we had earlier suspected cases of Ebola. Within 24 hours, we were told that the result from Noguchi was negative. Weren't we? This guy's case, it took a week. I mean, it took about 4 days after his death before he was buried. Now, it's over a week. The authorities in Brown-Ahafo are silent on the result from Noguchi. Aren't we supposed to know the result from Noguchi, whether it's negative or positive? At earlier cases, we were told. In earlier cases, we were immediately told in less than 24 hours that, oh, the results were negative. You know the Nsawam one? We were told. There was also another one, I think, is it Paga? Yes.
Is it
why
the border close to
yes,
Burkina Faso?
we were told that it was negative. This particular one, in Brown-Ahafo, this young man, initially they said, oh, he had been to the mining area. That is why, you know, they mentioned some chemical, you know, that is why he was coughing blood. We saw it on the TV. The way he was buried. You said you're waiting for results, and 1 week. In other cases, it takes 20. So let us interrogate, you know, and find out whether those people the guy was traveling with were quarantined. Whether measures were taken to test their blood. Because you see, the way this disease spreads, body contact, you are gone. This country, I mean, we know how we live. Okay? Though, because of Ebola, we're not supposed to be doing regular handshakes and all that. But people still do their handshakes.
You still shake your hand?
Of course.
No, I still do, though.
It's
a custom you can't avoid.
Of course. How many people?
It will be very rude of you.
Of course. How many people use sterilizer? How many people? You know, how many people would get one in their bag or car to be, you know, cleaning their hands and all that? We have cholera, and this is coming. So it is important the health authorities tell us, give us a feedback of the results of that gentleman who died. Because you didn't even bury him at a cemetery in an undisclosed location, and one family member was allowed to stand a distance to take a shot of him. I mean, Roland, let's know.
So now that everything is all set and we feel that now we're in the right point, do you think that the steps that have been taken beyond the UN reconnaissance mission being stationed here, we will say this is the best way we have to go about it?
I strongly believe that it's a very good steps, because if you look at what our president said in UN, you are saying that we need the support, and that's the bottom line. And they want to support. I'm even aware that they bought a lot of PPE that they are going to distribute.
Well, we're to 10,000, but according to the Ghana Medical Association, they've only seen about 6,000.
No, but it has been reported today that a lot of have been.
Well, and I hope you promise that you would find out about this Brown-Ahafo case.
But you see, I have a difficulty. You see, I have a difficulty. If there is something to be, hidden, why should they? If to the extent that they're going to use camera, TV camera, on even the process of the burial.
Yeah, but is it not important that we're very much proactive in
that
bringing out information to allay people's fears?
No, the point
I believe that's what Alex Afenyo-Markin is trying to say.
This is not politics. Get me right. In other cases, please, I mean, sometimes let's take the debate beyond.
When there are,
I'm coming.
When there are
earlier cases, I'm coming.
You see, when there's an initial case, in every situation.
When there were earlier cases, within 24 hours, we were told of the result from Noguchi. Negative.
Yes.
Weren't we told?
Why not?
Weren't we told?
Yes.
Good. I'm saying that this gentleman's case, 4 days after he was buried, we were told that they were awaiting result from Noguchi. To date, it's after a week. We still don't know. And the guy was buried in an undisclosed location. Family members were denying. If the results are negative, then exhume the body and give him a befitting burial.
Aye.
If the results are, and I don't want to believe that for over a week, Noguchi is unable to give a result of the blood sample.
You're saying the health authorities are trying to hide something?
I am concerned. They should come out.
Okay.
They should come out.
No, it's a genuine concern.
Of course. I mean,
but
this
the point I'm trying to
Bright early on confirmed to me you are being recalled to Parliament tomorrow.
Well, you know, as usual, probably they have some loans.
Oh,
they want us.
Well, that's speculative.
I mean,
you're a member of Parliament.
Oh, please. I'm saying that as usual. I mean, such recalls. I am a member of the finance committee.
You know that they are vetted from people.
I'm coming. How many people? Only one. Spielgabra. So you are recalling Parliament, or just on Spielgabra, just one? That's what you said. Some people.
No.
So then change it. You said it's only one person who's vetted.
I only raised one.
You said some people.
So you are
only some. It's not some people.
So you are speculating it could be some loan agreement.
Roland, I beg you. Roland.
I mean, it's parliamentary business.
You're speculating.
Are you running away?
You're speculating it could be.
The man is scared.
Oh.
This party will not let him come here again.
Why?
Listen to me. I'm saying it's only Spielgabra.
Yeah, it's also
Listen, don't say that.
Okay, let me just read it. According to the Auditor General's report, according to the Auditor General's report, okay, and this one just covers 2012. When we're making an argument about borrowing, etc., and Alex Afenyo-Markin, member of Parliament for Ifutu, was going on and on about government borrowing and not using the money wisely. But
prioritizing.
Okay, prioritizing. It's been disputed by Bright Demoji here also, but government exceeded its borrowing limit at the Bank of Ghana by 170%. Auditor General's report in 2012. This was contained in the Auditor General's report. And according to the report, government and the central bank went contrary to laws of Ghana to allow huge government borrowing. And it says that government borrowed 2.2 billion Ghana cedis, which is about 27% of total revenue, and about 170% more than what was required statutorily. And there's an interesting one here. The report also said that the HIPIC special accounts, okay, which had received funds of about 240 million Ghana cedis as of December 2010, had a withdrawal of 320, and so it means there's been over withdrawal of 83 million Ghana cedis, and that was not with due process. All right, so we're still exceeding. Okay, so that's what we have to end our debate. You saw what loans are you speculating will be approved tomorrow?
No. I mean,
or you are thinking it's just.
I mean,
you are just hazarding a guess.
No, I mean, I'm a finance committee member. I'm not hazarding a guess. They have some loans. They
so you think
and also Mr. Spielgabra's approval.
So which loans will be approved?
Well, we have indications that they have some loans. They want to.
So you are worried about too many loans?
No, I'm not worried about too many.
Okay, good.
I'm
Thank you very
about
much.
prioritization.
Alex Afenyo-Markin is a member of Parliament for
He's not worried about too much loans.
Yeah, he's not worried. He just said it. He's a member of Parliament for Ifutu. And also Bright Demoji is a member of Parliament for Botiano English Amanfo. Yes. Thanks, gentlemen, for joining me. I love your red tie.
Roland, you've become a politician.
What make is it? No, please don't tag me like that.
Oh, you've become a
no, I've not.
Because you asked a question to you didn't you.
That's it. That's it for AM Talk this morning.